Hey Howie, hey AJ, hey Nick, hey Kevin, hey Brian. Um, my name is Rachel Esdale. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. I have a disability called cerebral palsy, and what that is basically um, the cord wraps, the umbilical cord wraps around the neck of the baby and cuts off the oxygen to the brain. So basically, CP has many different kind of spectrum things to it. My particular CP is basically um, I'm in a wheelchair and I need help with things like brushing my teeth and uh, combing my hair, physical things, but I'm physically verbal and cognitive. I understand things. I can receive things, but I need physical help doing things. And I know that's not probably a great place to start, but I'm really nervous, so forgive me. And I'm kind of crazy too in a good way. But the reason I'm making this video is for 17 years. Yes, I did say 17 years. I've had this idea for a musical of your songs called Shape of My Heart. It came to me when I was in Bible college. I was 22 years old. I just had my 38th birthday on Wednesday of this year, and I was getting ready for school. I had afternoon classes that day. I was getting ready for school, and I was listening to your song, "Shape of My Heart," and this 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 story and these characters and this layout of the songs just came to me. Now the layout of the songs have shifted over the years, but they're basically the same. But I've added a few as you've come out with more albums, and but the story is completely fictional. Um, I've been I've been a creative person doing self-publishing books, and I've been on TV a couple times, uh, Christian television um, in Canada, and I've written a couple songs that no one has heard. I've just been a real creative thing, a real creative person for a really long time. And I always say, God, when when I was born, not being able to walk or do some of the physical things that people could do, God gave me the gift of writing and creativity. So I was sitting there listening to The Shape of My Heart, and this story, which is absolutely fictional, and with these songs came into my heart, and I just started to pen on my computer a outline to this musical, and um, and in this video I will, as short as possible, tell the story with the songs, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going to put it as a private video on YouTube. Now, I did this before, but the video was so long, and before I actually played the actual music. Now, I'm not going to do that because YouTube will blackball me for it, and I don't want that to happen. So, I'm just going to explain what's going to happen in the play and what I see happening. And to answer your unknown question, to answer the main question you probably have, no, I've never done a musical before, not on any scale. But and why am I doing this on your band and not the lot of others that were there? The truth is, guys, I don't know. Like, it just feels like I'm supposed to do this. I don't know why it's me. I know there are several other people with several other more experienced people, and maybe some with more powerful stories than I have. I grew up in a loving family. I don't have a tragic story. I do have a disability, but my story is not devastating and tragic. I I've loved music forever, and I've been a fan of you guys forever, but not, I would truthfully say, not one of your biggest fans. So I don't know why you and why me. I just got this about 17 years ago, and I tried to send it to you about 4 years later, but it got lost in the mail and all that stuff. So I'm trying again now, and we'll see what happens. Okay. The story starts off. The first song is, okay, I'm gonna tell you what I envision. Okay, I envision, close your eyes. I'm gonna use a lot of visualization here. A packed house, people filing into their seats, and the energy's high. It's like a bit, it's like it's like people are filing into their seats and getting ready and taking their seats, and ushers are ushering people into the theater. And while they're ushering people into the theater, the actress and the actors of the show are up on the screen talking about the show. Like, they're giving a synopsis, what it was like to work with you, what it was like to work with me, blah blah blah. They're talking about the show. And when everybody's in their seats, the overture starts. Like, they have snippets of Larger Than Life, I Want It That Way, and all these songs in the overture for about 5 minutes. So the orchestra is playing the overture, and then after the overture, the crowd hears bam ba bam ba 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 bam, the starting of Larger Than Life, and then the curtain goes up, and then we see the main character, Dom, Dimitri, getting out of bed and getting ready for school. And we see him while he's getting ready for school, and he's singing Larger Than Life. He's like, I've been running high when you're screaming my name, alright. And while he's going through the song, he's getting out of bed. So he's brushing his teeth, and he's getting out of bed. He's putting on his clothes. He's brushing his teeth, getting ready for the day. But while all that normal stuff is happening, he's seeing himself. He's seeing the screaming girls and screaming fans, and he's seeing the money rolling and the concerts, and he's seeing everything that comes along with fame. And when it, and he's seeing the dream of what he wants to be and who he is, and now he's like a 17-year-old high school kid that is dreaming of famous and being able to sing for millions of people. And then, so the Larger Than Life song takes us through his dreaming about singing for millions of people. And then the song takes us through him running out the door and saying, and his mom saying, did you bring your lunch? And him saying, I'll buy something at school, Mom. Bye. And at this point, we hear the refrain. That makes you larger. And he's driving down the road, and while he's driving on the road, it goes to it says, looking at the, and it goes into the second verse, and he's driving down the road, and he's driving to school, but he's seeing all these things that go with fame, like screaming girls and all the stuff that go with fame. So by the end of the song, by the refrain, by the end of the song, by the last chorus, he's at school by the that makes you larger, that makes you larger, that makes you larger than life. And at life, he's at school, and then the band swarmed his friends and other people swarm his car. So you get the sense from this he's a really popular guy. He's in like a high school band, and but he really wants to be a solo artist, like a soloist. And you see all the girls asking, who are you gonna take to the dance? Who are you gonna take to so and so? And you see the guys talking about football, and you see all these people like swarming his car. So you get that he's a popular high school jock. And you also somewhere in there get that it's the first day of his last year in school. So what you guys would call in the States a senior, and what we would call grade 12 in Canada. He's like a really popular guy, and he's a singer. And then we get to school, and his school is called Backstreet High. I know it's cheesy, but that's the only way I could fit the next song in there, because I couldn't have a Backstreet play without Backstreet's Back. which is the next song. So the next song is Backstreet's Back. So after all this fanfare about this guy, and you understand how popular he is, he says, "Guys, it's so great to be back at school, and it's our last year." And then Backstreet's Back comes on, and then in Backstreet's Back is the first ensemble I could envision, the first ensemble dance routine. Like they're outside of the school and they're dancing and whatever, and they say, and he starts, "Oh my God, we're back again," and then the ensemble, the dance routine starts, and it's a very elaborate dance routine. And then, you know how Backstreet Back says, "Am I original? Yeah. Am I the only one? Yeah. Am I sexual?" So on the, it's high school, right? So when he says, "I'm sexual," am I sexual? The first time the principal touched on him and said, "You've got one warning." And then when he says it the second time, he says, the principal said, "That's two." And then the principal says, "Go to the office." for like lewd behavior. So, and he's like, "Oh God, wouldn't be the first day at Backstreet High if I didn't get sent to the office." So, while he's waiting at the office, he meets this guy, this kind of cocky guy, more cockier than he is, and they have some kind of unpleasant interlude. I don't know what kind of unpleasant interlude they have, but it's something kind of like, ew. And when you totally get the sense that this other guy is a total ass, and you kind of, oh, and you're like, okay. And then his friends, his principal kind of gives him detention, and his friends say, "Okay, who are you taking to the taking to the welcome back dance? Are you taking this girl? Are you taking that girl?" And he says, "No, no, but I want to take the girl." And he says, "Come on." They say, "Come on, you you're not getting married. You're just dating her. Like, pick someone." He's like, "You cannot just pick someone. I want to go with that special girl." He's like, and then he sings "Unmistakable." Um, there come a day when you walk out of my dreams, face to face, like I'm imagining. Baby, how can I be sure you're the one I've waited for? Will you be unmistakable? So on the last chorus, that "Will you be," where the hook comes in. Will you be? Will you be unmistakable? And then you see he has there's this light that comes on, a girl that's walking down the hall carrying her books, and he sees her, and it's like, she's the one. Now, he hasn't met her yet, but she has this light come on her. It's like, she's the one. And he goes rushing to ask her to the dance, and then he knocks her books out of her hands, and books and papers go flying everywhere. And her laptop, her books, her papers go flying everywhere. And she's like, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he helps her pick up her books and her papers. And she's like, oh, it's okay. And they start talking for a while. He's all ready to ask her out. And then, lo and behold, the jerky guy comes, that he met in the office, comes up to her and says, Kat, are you coming? She's like, yeah, I'm coming. And obviously you could tell they're together. He's like, and her boyfriend's like, is everything alright here? He's like, yeah, everything's fine. I just got I just dropped my books. I'm coming. And she's like, well, I'll see you later. And he's like, I'll see you later. And like, he's like, what a jerk. And he's like, and his friend is like, there are so many fish in the sea or something like that. And he's like, that's the girl. And I'm not stopping until I get her. He's like, man, are you crazy? Do you know who that is? And it turns out that her father is rich, and his father's rich, and their fathers have been friends, and they've been going there forever. But he hasn't met her because he runs with kind of he's a popular guy, but in a music crowd, and she's like, and they're kind of rich. So he's like, don't worry, I'll get her. I just consider it a challenge, and his friends laughed. So the first cafeteria scene is we got it going on. So that's the next ensemble, like dance number. So they they do cafeteria lunch shows where they sing to everybody at lunch. In the cafeteria, him and his band. So in this scene, they're flipping over chairs. They're doing tricks and whatever, just to show what they do at lunchtime. And then afterwards, the next day, he sees her, and he sees her in the hall, and she says, "Oh, hi." He's like, I'm Dawn, remember? She's like, yeah, I remember you. But look, I have to say, I have a boyfriend, and I'm dating someone. So if you wanted to date me, I'm sorry, it's too late. And he's like, I know it's too late, but I just thought I'd try. She's like, okay, I'm telling you I'm not interested in you, go. And then she walks away. And then, okay, that day at lunchtime, he sings Get Down, which is the dance routine before, like, we got going up was just to show what he does at lunchtime. This one, he sings specifically to her. So he sings, uh, he makes sure he sings specifically to her. He sings, "You're the one for me, you're my ecstasy, you're the one I need. Get down, and move it all around. Get down, and move it all around." And he sings, and then oh my god, and then it's another elaborate like dance routine in the cafeteria, and then he's and then he comes up to her and sings right to her, and she's like, "Oh please, I told you I'm dating someone. You won't take no for an answer." And he he's like, "Oh please," but deep inside, you can tell, although she's dating someone, she kind of likes him. But and her friend in her like is like, "You like him?" He's like, "What?" He, she's like, "No, I'm dating so and so." And he's like, and her friend is like, "Girl, please, I know you like him." He said, let's call him Richard. I'm not sure what his name is. But she says Richard is a stuck up piece of work. And I know you like him. And he's not. He is, but he's a stuck up that you can work with. And she rolls her eyes like that makes any sense. So, so, then it's like the dance a week later, and then the night of the dance, she's at home waiting for her boyfriend to pick her up, but he doesn't show up. An hour goes by, 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, so she ends up going to the dance by herself, and he ends up singing to her. When he sees her, he ends up singing, "My love is all I have to give. Without you, I don't think I could live. I wish I could give the world to you, but love is all I have to give to you." And I was thinking, do you know the video where you do that whole chair flipping thing? I was thinking we can incorporate an elongated version of that chair flipping thing in that dance number, because it's another dance number in the gym. I was thinking we could incorporate that in some way, because it's from the video and people really like it. So he sings "All I Have to Give to Her," and then she runs out of the gym, and because the problem is she's dating someone, but she really likes him because her boyfriend is rich and kind of uses her as a trophy, like a trophy girl, and doesn't treat her right. And he is like kind of a popular broke musician who is just, you know, who sings literally for lunch times and that their functions, dances, proms, whatever. Doing little gigs here around town, here and there. And he doesn't have the money and, all that stuff that her boyfriend's father has, who owns everything in half their town. So, but she really likes him. And he obviously really, really, really likes her, but she's dating someone else. So she rushes out of the gym, and he follows her, and he sings like, okay, this is the first time in the parking lot when they're actually alone, and this is just a plain old singing sequence, no dancing, no friends. This is kind of just a romantic scene with him and her standing by the car, the moon shining, and he sings, "The first day that I saw your smiling face, honey, I knew that we would be together forever. And I asked you out. You said no, and I found out, darling, that you've been hurt. You thought that you'd never love again." Now, that works for the story so well, because she's been hurt by her boyfriend, and she doesn't really love him. She's with him because she doesn't feel that she has a choice. Like, he's popular and has money and whatever. But he sings, like this other guy sings to her, "I'll never break your heart. I'll never make you cry. I'd rather die than live without you. I'll give you all of me, honey, that's no lie." And by the end of this song, they have their first kiss, a legal kiss, because she's still dating the other guy. And, okay, so he kisses her and she kisses him right back. And when she kisses him, she's like, "Oh my god, I need to leave. I can't get out of here." He's like, "Wait." She's like, "You need to leave me alone." The answer is no. I can't come out with you. I can't see you. And you just need to drop this charade and leave me alone. And she drives off in her car. And then he finally gets it that she's not into him, whereas she is. But he, he is like totally going to give up on her. This is it, because he's tried and he's not getting anywhere with her. And then the next day, she confronts her boyfriend for leaving, for not picking her up or not being at the dance. And her boyfriend says, "I'm so sorry, baby. I was working late at my dad's shop. He had a meeting. We're buying some new properties, and he wanted me there to show a united front, his father and son." He's like, "Babe, I'm so sorry." but why don't we make up? He's like, I know this doesn't make up for it, but can we have lunch together out here out in the field? We could have a little picnic. It can be very romantic. And she's like, okay, but I'm still mad at you. He's like, I know, baby. I'll do whatever I need to make it up to you. And they kiss, and they're like, she's like, okay, I'll see you. And then they go to class. Class passes by, and then lunch hits, and then she goes out um, to the field to wait for him, expecting this romantic picnic, but he's not there. She waits for about a half an hour, and then she's like, I'm hungry. Maybe he got caught up with something with his father. I'll see him later. So she goes in the cafeteria to get her lunch, and everybody is looking at her. And she's wondering, why is everybody looking at her? Well, it seems that in the middle of the cafeteria, in the middle of everybody, her boyfriend is fooling around with another girl, basically having another girl sit on his lap in the middle of the cafeteria. And everybody is seeing this. And then she's seeing that. And she says, you know what? And he says, baby, I'm sorry. And he says, you know what? I'm done. And she sings, and she says, you know what? I'm done. And she sings, and even in my heart, I see that you're not being true to me. Deep within my soul, I feel that nothing's like it used to be. And she sings, quit playing games with my heart, my heart, my heart. I should have known from the start, my heart, my heart. And after the song, she dumped her tray and with her milkshake and her lunch in his lap over his girlfriend's head, and everybody's like, yeah! And then she dumps him and leaves him with the other girl and says, I'm done. And then she throws the tray away and leaves the cafeteria. It's kind of a priceless moment. So after that, we go right into um, we go right into the part where we see him, and he sings, it's not that I can't live without you, it's just that I don't even want to try. Every night I dream about you, ever since the day we said goodbye. And she sings, if I wasn't such a fool. And now they're walking towards each other. So she's walking down the school empty hall because everybody's at lunch. And he's just staring out at the field outside because like he lost her. He thinks he's lost her. She's like, um, um, So they're walking towards each other. And she says, and he says, and he says, and she says, if I wasn't such a fool, right now I'd be holding you. There's nothing that I wouldn't do. Baby, if I only knew the words to say, the road to take. You know the song. So, and then the next verse is the verse she sings. And then at the end, they meet up at on the field, and then they kiss, and then they're together, and everybody's like, woohoo! And like, okay. And then the next scene is their first date scene after months and months of warning each other and whatever. And now that they're together, they're going on their first date. So I want there to be a little. Okay, so remember I said he performs around town? He performs in school with his band, but he performs around town at little places and venues wherever he can sing. So he she meets him at the beach where he's performing at like a festival, and he's performing, baby don't go breaking my heart, breaking my heart, baby don't go breaking my heart, breaking my heart. And there's this like dance scene, and then after he performs that, people are like, yay! And then he jumps on the stage and hugs her and kisses her, and then they start their date on the beach. So during their date, um, they're setting up on the beach for their date. They've got their blankets, they've got their beach chairs and stuff. And when they're setting up, she puts down the beach chair, and sand goes in his face. And he's like, and he spits out the sand, and he says, and she says, oh, I'm so sorry, are you okay? And he says, don't pretend you're sorry. I know you're not. You know you've got the power to make me weak inside. And girl, you leave me breathless. But it's okay, 'cause you are my survival. Oh, hear me say, I can't imagine. And he sings, and she sings, I can't imagine my life without your love. Even forever don't seem like long enough. And as the date goes on, you see them go sailing, go snorkeling, go all of that stuff. You see them go scuba diving. You see them go like all this stuff, and you see them go waterboarding and all that stuff. And while they're going waterboarding, they're singing "Drowning." And the funniest part is the bridge. And when they say, because by this point they're in the water, and then he says, uh, and she says, and he says, uh, go on and pull me under, cover me with dreams. And he says, love and mouth to mouth. And when he kisses her, love and mouth to mouth now. You know I can't resist. 'cause you're the air that I breathe. And like the song is about their first date and how they're drowning in each other's love, and it's a cute little number. um, okay, so after that, now it's like a few months later. Her ex-boyfriend, the rich guy, is so jealous that they're together, and she is far more happier than he ever made her. So he starts spreading rumors and about him being with other women and whatever. So he sees all these mean posters and all these rumors on social media and all that stuff and around school that her ex-boyfriend is spreading that about him. Like he was with all these different women. He was like, I don't know, like all these terrible rumors he finds out about them. And he goes to explain to her that it's not true, that all this stuff that he's saying is just because he's jealous. And then she goes to him, and then when he finds her and he's explaining to her, he says, she says, he says, um, although loneliness has always been a friend of mine, I'm leaving my life in your hands. People say I'm crazy and that I am blind, risking it all in a glance. Cause they're like, how is she with him? He's such a bad guy because of all the rumors. And he said, she says, and how you understand a mystery. I can't get you out of my head. Don't care what is written in your history, as long as you're here with me. And she sings to him, I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. And of course, there's another dance routine in this. Like, there's a lot of ensemble dance routines. Um, and then he's she's he's like, I love you so much, and like they kiss again. So you know. So after that, now it's been a few months, and it's graduation for them both. So on the day of graduation, they get together with all their friends, and after graduation, they perform. In a world like this, where love comes round, I know we're gonna make it. La, 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 la. And this is no solo. This is where everybody is just singing and having fun. So they perform in a world like this because the world has changed so much, and in a world that's so changing, the whole class has got each other and they're still friends even though they're graduating and moving on. So, and that's the whole dance routine with everybody singing about it. And for for this one, because the male and female sing so much, I really don't want them to sing a solo part for this one. I want it to be other people, um, maybe their friends or whatever, the supporting cast or the ensemble, like just different people singing like, in a world like this, I got you. And when they finish their singing "In a World Like This, I Got You," like people start after the beach party, people start packing up and going home. And then while people are packing up and going home, uh, the two main characters are sitting on the beach. He's she's like, "Have you heard of this person and this person? They broke up because of this reason. And have you heard of this gay couple? They broke up because he's afraid to tell his parents he's gay. His partner is tired of being a dirty little secret." And they start reminiscing about all their friends who have broken up and who they thought would be together forever, and now after high school they've broken up. And he's like, "I know you've been feeling this way." And he says, and she says, "How do you know?" And he says, "It's in the sunsets, the words you never say. I feel it in your eyes, always starts the same. Seems like everyone we know is breaking up." And she sings this, "Does anybody ever stay in love anymore?" And he sings, "I promise you from the bottom of my heart, I will love you till death do us part. I promise you, as a lover and a friend, I will love you like I'll never love again, with everything I am." And at the end of the song, and it goes back and forth like a conversation, like she's worried that they won't last, and he's telling her that they will last. And at the end of the song, instead of breaking up with her, which she fears, like most people do after high school, he pulls out an engagement ring. He pulls out like his mom's engagement ring from his dad, and he asks her to marry him. And then she says yes. Now they're only 18 at this point, but they're young and in love, so they assume why wait, and their parents are like, okay. Everybody's parents would be a little hesitant, but they get married, and in the wedding scene we go to straight "Yes, I Will." We go to that song, and that song we see her getting up in the morning. We see the actual wedding ceremony, so that song is incorporated somehow in the wedding ceremony. That "Yes, I Will" song. Yes, I will take my hand and walk with you. Yes, I will. So, all the song is like their wedding and their reception and everything. So now they get married, and then after they get married, they move into this small house, and they're both fairly 18. So he takes a job singing at a local bar, and does the gigs around town. So obviously he needs to support a family, so he takes a job doing a local gig, and then when he's doing that local gig one time, he is actually, yeah, he actually does that gig. And then while he's doing that gig, and I don't know what the song for the gig is going to be, we're going to have to write it if this thing goes through. So a producer hears him singing and offers him a contract, and then but he's like so hesitant to tell his wife about the contract because they're just newly married and they just moved, and this is just different and new. But he tells her, and her response is, I'll go anywhere for you. I'll do anything you ask me to. And then he says, that means we're going? I should take the job. And she's like, yes, it's your dream. I'll be with you all the time. So they take the job, they move to LA. The song makes it big. It was the same song he was singing at the bar, and the song makes it so big. And as the song gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the marriage gets further and further and further apart. Because more touring and more radio interviews and more social media lives, and this all is taking a toll on this young marriage. And it's taking a real toll on this young marriage. So when he starts to tour, she's at home alone, like by herself in this house, in this big house that they purchased with his first check. She's alone, and she's kind of resentful of him because he stopped writing, he stopped texting, he stopped calling. He just got so busy and so caught up in the meteoric rise and his followers and his social media following and his album sales. The single is huge, and then when the single got huge, his record company said he had to go on the road, so he started to tour immediately, and there was no break, and he's so tired, and she's mad because she doesn't understand why he can't just pick up the phone or say no to the record company. But you don't want to say no when it's your first time starting out. So this creates tension in that relationship, and the relationship that was so lovely and kind and all that, they start fighting, they start all that stuff. They can't stand to be around each other. And when the last time he comes home from touring, because he did an album, and then he toured, and then he did another album, and then he toured again. So by his second tour, his wife, who is now 19, barely 19, is fed up. She can't believe it. She didn't know that this was going to be their marriage. So one day when he comes home, they have a big fight. And you know what song they fight? And he's like, what? And she's like, what's wrong with you? It's like you want it this way. You want us to not be talking. You want us to break up. You want me to be by myself. It's like you want it this way. You don't even care about me. It's all about the label and what the label wants. But what about what I want? I'm your wife. You think I want it this way? You think I want it this way? And he puts his arm around her, and he says, "Baby, you are my fire, the one desire. Believe when I say I want it that way, and we are two worlds apart. I can't." And she starts singing, "And we are two worlds apart. I can't reach to your heart when you say that I want it that way." And now this song is basically a fight between the two of them. But because this song was so huge, it's your biggest song to date. Um, I was thinking it would be great if we stopped the story, just stopped it for a while, and just had um, the biggest dance routines ever, with all kinds of different styles of music, jazz, tap, ballet, just a big shebang, a big set of dance routines, big, lighting and explosions, because I want the people for I Want It That Way to go, wow, this is incredible, because this was the biggest song of your career, so we need to make it big. Um, um, so after this whole, and it's going to be the whole thing, it's going to probably be like 10 minutes long. And after the song is done, we go back into the story, and they're sitting uh, in their kitchen and they're having this fight. And she's like, he's like, "You know what? You think I want it this way? Okay, if you think I want it this way, it's better than that we not be together then, since you think I want to not be with you anymore." She's like, "Well, fine." And then she throws him out. She's like, "You know what? I can't deal with this anymore. Get out." And he's like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah, get out." And she throws him out. And then after she throws him out, um, there's a medley of incomplete, and he sings incomplete, and she sings inconsolable. So they're both broken hearted over this, but nobody's willing to give and say compromise. They're both too stubborn because they're young. And then after she sings inconsolable, he sings incomplete. Um, he's he sings empty spaces fill me up with holes, and she sings inconsolable. And then after that, um, you see him uh, at a show, and and he sees a girl, like I guess you would call her a groupie, and then after he sees the groupie, you see him going backstage with her, and you hear, and then you see him at a bar telling the bartender what happened, which is he went backstage with this girl and slept with her. And then in that scene where he's at the bar telling the bartender what he did, there's this beat that goes like ta bum 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 bum. pump pump. It's like a tango beat. And he says, let me tell you the story about the college. Changed my destiny. Me and the boys ran out just to end up in misery. Because after a show, he took her back to the bus and whatever and slept with her. Cheated on his wife because he was mad and didn't know how to deal with it. So this routine is like a tango kind of routine. You know, the call has a tango beat, so I think because of the length of the play, we cut this song short. Like we sing one verse and a chorus, and we'll do this with a few of the songs because I want to get as many songs as possible, but I don't want the play to be too long. So he sings the call to this bartender while he's telling this bartender what happened with this groupie girl on tour. And then he's so devastated about what he does, so he starts, this was the first affair on tour, and then he starts sleeping with other women, and then one woman, he's so anxious and whatever, and one woman gives him either Xanax or another tranquilizer to calm him down, and then he goes from being that from that type of tranquilizer to being addicted to drugs, and then she sees about the women and the drugs on the tablets. He doesn't even tell her anything like that. So he's too busy partying and living it up to even remember he has a wife. So, and she gets so upset that one day she's in a mall and she looks down and there's yet another story about him and another woman and his growing drug habit. And she's with a friend in the mall and she gets so mad, and this so-called friend says, honey, hit him where it hurts, and she's like, what are you talking about? Her friend says, hit him in his wallet where it hurts. You have the money, you deserve it, and you deserve to punish him for what he's been putting you through. And she grabs her wallet. It says, you see this is the best way to punish him. And I want to put a new song here called Hit Him Where It Hurts. I haven't wrote that song yet. And if this goes through well, I want to write it together. So, about hitting him in his wallet, making him pay with his wallet, literally. So, she's like, well, I don't know. That is for an emergency. And her friend grabs the credit card. She says, honey, this is an emergency. And they max out their first credit card. And she maxes out the first credit card with buying clothes and all that. And then she takes out a second credit card and a second credit card. And she ends up mortgaging their house. She ends up being addicted to online and in-person shopping. It gets so bad that I told you she ends up mortgaging their house. And just to get more money. And then when that doesn't work, she starts sleeping with rich men to support her habit when she can't take out any more credit cards in the bank won't loan her any money because she's not making any payments and she's about to lose her house. They don't lose the house quite yet, but it's pretty close. And she starts sleeping with all these rich men to get money, and she starts, doing all this stuff to hurt him, but it's really now an addiction. She's actually hurting herself. She buys thousands of dollars worth in shoes, and she's millions of dollars in debt, almost $1 billion. And while she's spending money like wildfire, he's got a major drug habit that is affecting everything around him. And now his label, and everybody's sick of it. He's late for performances, constantly high, constantly not showing up for gigs, not showing up for rehearsal, and the label and his managers and all those people have had it with him. His band has walked out because he's so mean and he's so into his drugs and into the next fix. It becomes more important than the music, and it totally changes it. You can't see it, but it totally changes it. And there's a scene where his label says, "We're dropping you. We can't do this anymore. You're a liability." And his manager says the same thing. They have a meeting and says, "We're dropping you too. We can't support you anymore because you're unreliable. You're not dependable. We can't do this anymore." And his manager said, "I'm done," and the label said, "I'm done too." So his first thought is like, I need a fix, I need to get high. So he doesn't have any drugs left, so what does he do? He takes his last bit of money, buys a little bit of drugs, but it's not enough. So what he does is he goes over to their house high. He goes over to their house high, and then he breaks in with his druggy friends for stuff to sell, cleans her totally out, and then when she comes home, because she wasn't home when he got there, when she comes home from a date with one of her sugar daddies, she finds her house totally cleaned up. Him and his druggy friends cleaned her totally out. And she's like, "Where are you going with that?" And it's her couch and it's her whatever. And then everything is totally gone. And then he's on the stairs and she's wearing this fur coat. And he's like, "What?" She's like, "What the hell are you doing here? Get out of my house!" And he's like, "It's my house too, remember? We're married." And she's like, "We haven't been married in almost 2 years," because it's almost 2 years by this point that they've been apart. Not divorced, but apart. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm taking back what's mine." He's like, don't think I don't get the bills about what you're spending. The billions of dollars of my money that you're spending. Your money, well, I deserve it because you've left me coat that her date got her. And by the way, the date when he sees that her husband's there, he ducks out, he cut and runs, and at the end of the scene, he says, "Give me the coat," and she says, "I'm not gonna give you this coat. It's over $1,000. I'm not gonna give it to you to spend on drugs. You took everything out of our house. You took enough." He's like, "Give me your coat. If you don't give me your coat, I'll take it." He's like, she laughs. She doesn't think he'll take it. Well, he says, "You don't think I'll take it?" And then he pulls out his gun and shoots her twice. And then when he shoots her, the stage goes black and then red, and you see the police bursting in. First you see the ambulance bursting in, putting her on a gurney and taking her to the hospital. And then you see the police bursting in. He tried to run, but the police burst in and pinned him to the wall and arrested him. And all you can hear is an overhead voice say, "You've been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison." So he's going off to prison, and she's going off to the hospital. And then you see him in the prison, and he's in solitary confinement, and immediately you hear "Help Me," the song "Help Me" that Nick did on his Now or Never album from years ago. So he's singing "Help Me" because he says, he's singing "Help Me" because he doesn't know which way to go. He's singing, "Help me figure out the difference between right and wrong, weak and strong. Say it up where I'm wrong. Help me make the right decisions, know which way to turn. Listen to him." And he starts singing this. And after this song, the security guard comes in. And then he says, "I don't want any food." And because the security guard, the prison guard, tries to give him the food, and he's like, "I don't want any freaking food." And he puts the food against the wall. And this security guard, who is a big woman, slammed him against the floor and said, "Don't you throw that tray at me. I'm not the one who got your ass here. You did that. I'm not the one who made the choice to get addicted to drugs. I'm not the one who went into his wife's house, shot her, and now is in jail for attempted murder. I'm not the one who made those choices." But the good thing about choices, any second you can make a different choice. From the day you got in here, about 2 years ago, you've been acting like the world owes you something. She's like, "I'll tell you something. The world owes you nothing." And she gives him this really powerful speech about how he has a choice. He has a choice. He made a choice to do drugs. He made a choice to cheat on his wife. He made a choice to do drugs, and he got addicted to them. And now he's making the choice to be in solitary confinement and angry. And for the past 2.5, almost 3 years, he's made the choice to be angry. He's like, she's like the good thing about choices. You can either choose to die or choose to live. Or something like that. A really powerful speech about choices. She's like, he's like, sometimes I think it would be better to die. She's like, it takes nothing to die, but it takes strength to live. It takes tenacity to go through what you've gone through and to still choose to live. Take the higher road. Live. Choose to live. Don't choose to die. Or something like that. Something powerful like that. And she leaves him. And then we see the hospital where she is in the hospital, and for the past almost 3 years since her shooting, she's alive. She's talking and has issues walking, but she's alive. But the most important thing is she's angry and resentful at herself, at her husband, how her life turned out. And she's been kind of hard to get along with to all the other nursing staff. But there's this one nurse that won't give up on her no matter how hard she tries to push him away. And then he comes into the room, and then she tries to push him away again, and he just pushes back even harder. She's like, I can't do this, I lost everything. He says, and he says to her something powerful about losing everything, being the seed of a new beginning or whatever. So the nurse talks to her, and the security guard talks to him. And the next song, I hear, because they both ask, how are you able to stay so strong, and how are you able to just keep going because of all of what you've seen? And they start singing Brian's cover of Michael English's In Christ Alone. Now this is not a Christian play, but for this song, I think it would be beautiful here. I'm not telling anyone to convert or whatever, but I'm saying for these two characters, it's what gets them through. And and because that would be a way to fit a song, the song into the play, and I think the song would be perfect. So it would start with the prison guard, and then the nurse would take the second verse, and then they would come together in the middle of the stage. The two sets would be back there, and both the prison guard and the nurse would come together for the bridge. I see it being a beautiful, beautiful number. And then after that, there is a point where they both have a dream where they see a reel of their life. They see a reel of them, a montage of them at Backstreet High, and how he fought so hard to get her. And then their first date at the beach, and all what they went through with her boyfriend, in high school, and graduating high school and straight getting married and all that. And and the dream and the voice of their conscience says, now you have a choice. You can either live in bitterness. He says, you can either die in bitterness and resentment and anger, or you can live in love, peace, and joy. And then they both wake up, and then they decide to change their lives. And from that point on, of that powerful dream that they both have on the same night, they decide to live. They decide to forgive each other, and it's not easy. It takes work and therapy and all of that for both of them, but the decision is the starting point. Because I believe in life, everything starts with a decision. And once you make the decision, help is available to you. So he goes to drug counseling, he goes to anger management classes, he makes the decision to change his life. And she goes to Shopaholics Anonymous, and she goes to therapy like he does, and she gets her life straight. So as they're both getting their life straight, him with drug treatment and anger, and her with over shopping and overspending, and all that. Now the next step is, what do they each do? So because of what happened to him in jail with the dream, from that day forward, he started being a model prisoner, like helping the other prisoners, teaching them about what he went through and the transformation in his life, and how he got rid of his anger and how he forgot about the past. And prisoners went from hating him to loving him, and just like he was such a stand-up guy after this change. It was like night and day. And so because of this, because of him being such a model prisoner, he was able to get out. He spent like 6 years of his 15-year sentence in jail. But he went in there a total different person than what he came out as. And then but the problem is, when he got out of jail, all he could do was sing and whatever, but nobody wanted to hire him. He tried and tried and tried and tried, and nobody would hire him. So what happened was, he was talking to his old manager and said, please man, I will do anything I need to do to get this done. And his manager said, okay, if you say you will do anything, my kid has a school concert. Now it's not very big. It doesn't pay. You have to do it for free, but at least it'll be something. So he says, yes, I will do it. And then his kid is a teenager, and then when he gets to the high school, he sees this girl, uh, and and she's all the other kids are kind of with each other, whatever, and this girl is by herself. And he says, "Hi, my name is hi, my name is Dom." She's like, uh, and she doesn't know who he is. So he starts telling her who he is and that he's here to perform in the gymnasium for the school dance. And she starts to open up to him a little bit. That she is a lesbian, and how the other kids make fun of her, and how the other girls won't, how the other straight girls won't be friends with her because they think that she will try and come on to them. And she starts telling him about all of this stuff that she's been through. And she's like, "I just want to be friends. I just want to be loved. Why can't people see that? I'm not I'm not a bad person. I'm just attracted to the same gender." Uh, he's like, "Don't worry," and he sings to her, "Rise up, rise up, rise up, Madeline." And he starts singing Madeline to her, and then he starts singing Madeline to her, and Madeline on the playground flows it into "What Makes You Different," the song that you did for Princess Diaries. You know, what makes you different makes you beautiful. What's there inside you shines through to me. In your eyes I see all the love I'll ever need. What makes you different makes you beautiful to me. And he starts singing all of this. So Madeline on the playground to this girl named Madeline, and what makes you different for the school assembly. And I thought what would be cool for this would be, in each city that we go to, is to have a montage of people with different stories about what making them different, how that makes them beautiful in the different cities. So when we're in Toronto, we have people from Toronto. When we're in Atlanta, we have people from Atlanta in the montage, like real stories, like an abbreviated version of their stories. And what we could do in each city is have people send in stories to an email address and have somebody go through the stories and pick the best ones. So the montage would change every city we were in, and it would be different real people with how what makes them different makes them beautiful. And how does that happen? Like abbreviated stories with montages too. So after that, back to the story. After that beautiful thing, things get started again. Um, for his career and for her career, she started a shopaholics group where people talk about she talks about money management and shopping, and she tells her story, and she goes around and around, and she's an amazing public speaker, sharing her experience and the tools that she learned in therapy and how she was first using shopping to punish him, and then it became an addiction. And she kept telling her story, and she became really popular in person and started doing conferences and social media lives and really an influencer that the world was looking up to. And me, their both their lives were going so well. His career was taking off since that performance at the school, and her career was taking off as a life coach and inspirational speaker. And but they still hadn't found their way back together. And what happened was he got a call that his mother was dying of cancer, and she got the same call. And then when he goes to see his mother, a few scenes back, when I told you that before he went to jail and he was looking for drugs, his mother had called him, but he didn't answer the phone because he was so into drugs. And before that, he was so busy that he didn't. His mother kept calling and calling for tickets, but he didn't pick up the phone, or he said, yeah, maybe one day. But now he gets a call from his mom that she has stage 4 cancer and that she's dying and that he has to come home. And then he goes home and then he sees his mother, and then he's so grateful to see his mother and so sorry of all the time he wasted and what she did for him, and he just wants to thank her. So he thanks her and cries and whatever. And she sings, "Show 'em what you're made of." And she says, "Son, I forgive you." It's a really touching moment. And then at the end of that scene, she dies, his mom. And then before she dies, she's like, "Make things right with Katerina." I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there's any love there. But even if it's not a love relationship anymore, make things right. Make things right and show her you can be the man that I raised you to be. And she's like, "I'm so proud of you for doing what you love to do and for being knocked down but getting up." She's like, "I'm so proud of you. I love you, son." And then she passes away. And the next scene is at her funeral, at the casket. He sings, "It takes a lot to know what is love. It's not the big things, but the little things that can mean enough. A lot of prayers to get me through. Learn there and day that passes by. I don't think of you. You showed me when I was young just how to grow. You showed me everything that I should know. You showed me just how to walk without your hand. That's why we always will never forget." And it is the most touching scene. People will be crying and crying and just emotional. This will be an emotional scene. when he's crying at when he's singing to his mom, and he's facing the congregation at his mother's funeral saying, and then he turns to his mother's coffin and says, "Mom, you always were the perfect parent." It's going to be so emotional. I get teary-eyed just thinking about it. Because of all the time he wasted doing all kinds of stupid stuff. And now he realizes that all that time he wasted, he can't get back. His mother's gone. But she said before she died how proud of him she was for being knocked down but not staying down. And his last wish, her last wish was for him to make things right with his wife. Whether it's a love thing or whether they still divorce, still make things right. That was her last wish. So at the funeral, he sees Katerina, his wife, and it's kind of awkward because now they haven't seen each other in like about now 5 or 6 years. So they're now like 20, 24, 25, maybe 26. And now they're still not divorced, and now they have to decide what they want to do, whether they want to live married or whether they want to divorce or separate legally or whatever. He just left. They didn't really separate or whatever. So they see each other at the funeral when she comes to comfort him by the casket and says, "I'm so sorry about Sylvia." And he remembered what his mom said, that the only thing she wishes is that he would make things right with her. And she says, and he says, "Can I talk to you?" And they take a drive back to the house. They start with small talk and whatever, and then on the drive, but when they get back to the house, they talk, and he says, "You know, it's hard to know what to say. There's so much, and I don't even know where to begin." She's like, "I don't even know either. A lot has happened since we saw each other." And then she's like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do." And then they end up singing together. The last song that they played, they end up singing, "Baby." She says, Katerina, like, the first thing I should say is, "Baby, please try to forgive me. Stay here to burn out so they sing that duet together, but the most touching part of the duet is the bridge. She says, and they say, he said, and she says, he says, I'm here with my confession. I got nothing to hide, no." Because they both obliterated their marriage and their relationship, so there's nothing to hide by anymore. He's already been to jail, he's already been on drugs, and he's been clean for quite a few years, but it's just a lot of went on, and he says, they say, Looking back on the things I've done, and they both have done things. I was trying to be someone. I played my part. I kept you in the dark. Now let me show you the shape of my heart. And then, uh, and then it's a beautiful scene of them kind of making up after all of that. But they still have work to do. They still have to go to marital counseling and have all this. Now that they've done the individual work on themselves, and now they kind of uh, get together and work together as a couple. Because you need to do individual work on yourself first before you can work on yourself as a couple. So that's what they do. They go to therapy, they go to counseling, and manage to get it together and be together as adults and not as children anymore. So the last scene of them is Daddy on stage when he's like 40 and he's celebrating his like 15 years back together with his wife, and then you see they have two kids, and then the family joins their daddy on stage, and that's the end of the play. And then the tail end of the play before curtain call, that's the end of the story, but the tail end of the play, I want there to be, you know, remember the song Everyone? That song is where, that song is what we do the curtain call to. Like, people sing, the cast sing, we've been through days of thunder. Some people said we don't belong. They tried to pull us under. But here we stand together, we're remaining strong. Let's get on with the show. Turn the lights down. And it's just gonna be so awesome with dancers, and then we do curtain call and then the play's over. So that's my synopsis of the play. Sorry if it's a little long. Hopefully the video fits on YouTube, and in the description box I will have my email, I will have everything, and then I will also send along with this email a link to this video, of course, and my written synopsis. Now the synopsis is not a script, it's just the song and what I want to happen in the scene and a bit about the play. And I will have my email address and information in the description box. And this will be a private video, so only your people, and this will be an unlisted video, which will be only me and the people that can see the email that you send it to. I hope this can get off the ground, and I hope one day people will be as affected by this play in a positive way as possible. And because I find plays usually have great music, But for storylines, I want this play to have both. I want this play to have the typical phenomenal singing and dancing and to celebrate your careers, but I also want it to have life lessons about forgiveness and letting go and all of that. So I hope you like what I did, and I hope we can work together. I'm so excited, and I'm praying that this works. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Take care, guys. God bless.